Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be covering patch 14.1b. This is the hotfix for the huge patch which released at the beginning of the season. And let's cover the changes. So, champion buff side, we are seeing Corki and Ezreal being buffed. These two champions are underperforming because Triforce isn't as good on range champs anymore. Lux is not too weak. I'm surprised they are buffing Lux, but she's definitely underperforming. And when Storm Surge gets nerfed, she will be in need of buffs, so it doesn't surprise me. She's also very popular. Neferi, very much one of the underperformers from Profane Hydra being very weak at the moment. They are buffing Profane Hydra, but even then, Neferi is still underperforming. But people are building her incorrectly though. I believe Eclipse is the best first item to go on her. Even then, she's still fairly weak. Zac is also underperforming. Radiant Virtue being removed from the game meant he lost a lot of power. Liandry's Torment does seem to perform quite well on him though, so give it a try. It wouldn't surprise me if Zac gets buffed and Liandry's Torment is still performing really well on him, but he is in a very strong spot. Zed is also another loser of Ravenous Hydra just being weaker on, losing Ravenous Hydra is an option on Zed. The haste, the wave clear, the just tools that he got access to really hurt Zed. Profane Hydra doesn't really fill that space at the moment, especially with it being so weak. So Zed is receiving some buffs, very much underperforming at the moment. For champion Nerfs, Aphelios is a huge winner of lethality being 1-to-1 rather than 0.6-to-1, so he is being nerfed with lethality being inherently within his kit. Fizz is massively overperforming with Storm Surge at the moment. Rocket Belt is also very strong on him, so he is being nerfed. Gwen is performing really well. She's just one of the winners, like Kale, Singed, and Teemo of the of just having more options. Access to more options and items, and being able to pick up things like Nash's, which is still very strong. Another winner of just not needing mana mythics. So Riftmaker also works quite well on her. For Singed, Liandry's Torment works really well on him. Teemo, Liandry's Torment, Malignant also works really well on him. For LeBlanc, this is probably AD LeBlanc. It's performing not great. People are still losing a lot of games on it, but they're very concerned about competitive, I imagine, with LeBlanc once again probably taking over. This is more of a high-low nerf, if anything. Storm Surge LeBlanc, not doing too great. It wouldn't surprise me if they do try and compensate some AP LeBlanc buffs, but they might not, and they might just leave it with just AD LeBlanc being nerfed. And Tarek is a big winner of the new Zeke's with the Ice Storm. He can synergize really well with it. Not performing as well as some of the other supports. Like Tarek has always had a fairly high win rate. The likes of Rakan performing really well at the moment, especially of Trailblazer being so good on him. But still, Tarek is warranted of nerf, so it doesn't surprise me. System buff, so Essence Reaver, not performing quite so well out the gates. Its best uses are obviously things like your Ezreals and your Vaynes. And these champions aren't really finding success with it, so they are buffing it up. Heartsteel, I'm surprised they are buffing Heartsteel. It's not underperforming heavily, but it is a very important tank item for a lot of champions. Being able to stack this up does mean a lot for like the likes of Sion, Mundo, Time Kench, for example. All these really need the health. Hubris is in a really weak spot at the moment. This is the lethality snowball item. You only really see it built on the likes of Jhin and Samira, and even then it doesn't perform hugely well, and they can just skip the item even if they are snowballing. Profane Hydra is in a very weak spot at the moment. It's like massively underperforming compared to the other Hydra options. Ravenous Hydra is also still just underperforming, so they are buffing these two items up. They are also very clunky, so I imagine a lot of this will come down to just making that animation smoother and less of a burden to have. Stridebreaker, not doing too badly, works quite well on the likes of Belveth, but they are buffing it up. It is not doing too well on other champions. Tiamat, also struggling because of the animation being slow. So system nerfs, Collector, lethality being no longer 0.6-to-1, 1-to-1 makes collector a lot stronger, so they are nerfing it. Rockabelt overperforming out the gates for being changed. Storm Surge very overperforming at the moment, makes a lot of champions really strong, like AP Assassins, Diana, Echo, Fizz all come to mind as being really good Storm Surge abusers. Titanic Hydra also very strong in its current state. The likes of Rek'Sai can really heavily abuse it. There's actually a lot of champions which really abuse Titanic Hydra, with it being an auto attack reset as well. The stat line's nice as a first item option. Yeah, so Titanic Hydra being nerfed. And Trailblazer. So Trailblazer also very strong. The likes of Rakan can really heavily abuse this item. And yeah, those are the changes. I'm surprised I guess I'm not surprised. But there aren't a huge amount of changes here. But yeah, these are the main kind of outliers. Things like Karma, obviously still weak, hasn't received changes here, but I could list a few of those, so I'm not going to go through all of those. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one, which will hopefully be in a bit when they release the full patch rundown. Oh yeah, another thing, actually, before I go, is I did a mid lane tier list, which I dropped at 4, I put in the Discord at 4 AM. This patch dropped like 15 minutes later. I was so sad, because I spent like the entire evening doing this, but hey ho, what can you do? So yeah, thank you guys for watching, I'll see you next one, goodbye.